right, speaking on the radio, important thing number one, you want the right information, you want enough information that you can make the right decisions in the race, choose when to pit, get a good idea of what's happening in the race, but you obviously don't need to know every single detail that's going on. So knowing kind of what is important and what's not for your race engineer to communicate with you, that's an important discussion to have. And also the timing of it, because you obviously don't want everything on one lap. So you need it kind of spread out when you need it, and also the timing around the lap is important. You obviously don't want it in the middle of a fast corner or in the middle of a really technical section. You want it ideally on a straight, especially if they're asking a question. You want some time to be able to think of your answer as well. And generally, which kind of suits me, as few words as possible, because driving a race car and having a conversation at the same time, not the most straightforward thing, so keeping it short. I think communicating feels pretty natural. When you first have access to the radio, which is in the junior categories, then it's a bit weird because you're not used to having anyone be able to talk to you. But the importance of it is much higher in F1 because the strategy is much more involved, tyre management is much more involved, the races are much longer, so in all the racing before F1, you kind of know what's happening because it's just a straight race from start to finish. In an F1 race, there's all kinds of things to think about, strategies, 1 stops, 2 stops, different tyres, all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's much more important to get an idea of what's happening in the race. One other thing is that we also talk a lot more than you see or hear on TV. Obviously you hear the good bits or the exciting bits, but there's a lot more conversation that goes on around that. But the main ones, you guys will probably see on TV, but there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes too.